Good evening and welcome to Superintendent's Corner. My name is Richard Sapphire, Superintendent of Schools, and this show is an opportunity to talk about issues facing the school district, our successes, our challenges, and perhaps even more importantly, to discuss these matters with people who are making a difference within the school system. Tonight we have two of our high school science teachers here to talk about how they are making a difference. From the biology department, we've got David Enos, and we have Eric Lee. And welcome and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
The reason we have these gentlemen on the show is that they are the 2017 award winners of the Mass BioEd Honors Champions for Biotechnology Education. This is a big statewide honor, and it really does point to some of the outstanding work that's taking place at the high school and particularly within the science department. Allow me to say just a little bit before we turn it over to these gentlemen about the Mass BioEd program, and it's designed to celebrate and recognize the outstanding advocacy for and support of biotechnology educational programs in Massachusetts. And specifically, it states that, referring to David and Eric, that they are dedicated educators committed to providing students high-quality, engaging, and relevant life sciences curriculum that prepares students for the 21st century. They developed a biotechnology class at Gloucester High School and continue to work towards their goal of building it into a full-year course and certificate program. They also recruit students into the Gloucester Biotechnology Academy vocational program, which helps to illuminate biotechnology career pathways for high school graduates. So, no small task, and gentlemen, congratulations. What an outstanding achievement. I'd just like to take one more moment, if I may, and mention that not only did they receive their own particular trophies, but also receive citations from the House of Representatives for their work as champion educators for biotechnology here in Gloucester. With that, Governor Baker was at the celebration as well, and we have a few words on behalf of these two gentlemen from the governor, and I'd like to show you that.
Good evening, everybody. This is Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight to celebrate tonight's award winners and the great success that they've had in improving the quality of biotechnology education here in the Commonwealth. But tonight we're talking about the great work you've done to help advance biotechnology and education across the Commonwealth through many of the programs you've made available to support kids and teachers here in the Commonwealth. And to David Enos and Eric Lee, congratulations on being chosen as the Educators of the Year. Gloucester's a great community. My family used to live in Rockport. I've spent a ton of time there. I feel like I know the place pretty well. And what you're doing to bring more biotechnology education to the kids in Gloucester is truly terrific and exactly the sort of thing I hope we can see people replicate going forward. As I said, I can't be with you. I hope you all have a great night. But congratulations and mostly thanks to the award winners. You folks are doing great work, and on behalf of the people of Massachusetts, I just want to say thank you.
Gentlemen, outstanding. Congratulations. Always nice when the governor has something nice to say about us and so on. So before we get started talking specifically about the award and about the biotechnology program at the high school, can you say just a little bit about yourself, Eric, background?
Sure. I've been teaching at Gloucester for 9 years now, and I teach an honors bio class, regular college prep bio, forensic science, which we have a lot of interest in, and of course the biotech new program that we've had since last year.
Great. Dave?
And I've been teaching at Gloucester since September 2000 with my principal teaching in biology. I've been teaching anatomy and physiology for the last several years. This year we've had quite a number of requests to teach an additional section of AP biology, which I'm teaching as well, and of course the biotech.
Right. Well, good segue. So let's get into that. I should mention that the awards stand by themselves. But in addition, you had also placed a grant through the state and received an award for biotechnology as well. These are two separate entities. So could you speak just a little bit about how much the grant was for and how it's going to be applied towards instruction in biotech?
Yeah, well, the grant was for up to $100,000 in equipment with an additional $10,000 for professional development. The state really saw through that they don't want you to have a bunch of equipment you don't know how to use.
Sure.
And so Eric did most of the legwork on the budget for that grant, and hours of time putting in line items to find out how much we could get for that much money. And the grant came through, and we now have a state-of-the-art biotech lab right at Gloucester High School.
How long did it take? I heard you say hours. About how many hours do you think it took to put the grant together?
Countless.
Too many to count. Ask my family; they'll tell you. So
Good.
But with the money that we were able to receive, we were really able to renovate what was a classroom, and now we have a state-of-the-art biotech lab. It includes all the latest equipment. We've had college professors come in from Salem State and look at it, and with envy as well. So we're really pleased with what has come about.
Terrific. So just to back up historically, when and how did biotechnology become a part of the program in biology courses? And I should say that way back when I was a biology teacher, my last couple of years was when biotechnology was first becoming a field and electrophoresis and all that stuff. So when did biotech start to become a part of the program here?
Sure. So in 2009, we partnered with Mass Bio, and Mass Bio has an education division. They were the ones who recognized us. And we applied for a grant at the time, I think it was $9,000, where we received equipment to do just what you're indicating, gel electrophoresis, and really touch all of the students in the life sciences. So our goal was to sort of change the way we teach life science, and rather from concepts to more skills, and have students be at least introduced to some of the tools they'd use in a modern laboratory. So it really started around 2009. And then in 2013, we were recognized as Mass Bio's Innovative Life Science School of the Year. We received a what they call Joshua Boger Award, and that came with additional monies at the time, around $10,000, and we've applied for other spot grants and things to try to receive that money. When both Dave and I talked, we thought that the next development really would be to have a full biotech program to lead even past AP Bio and to give kids the skills that they needed. So that started about a year ago. Maybe you want to speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, so we had this idea, the skills that we'd learned from Mass Bio and the equipment that we'd started out with, we thought we could actually get this introduction to biotechnology class going. And along the way, we found out about the Mass Life Sciences grant. And we thought, wow, this would really cement our program and really get us off the ground. And so by doing that, part of the plan was to we're going to start with the introductory bio class, and then to expand that to a couple more offerings to a full program, and even hopefully develop it into a certificate program where kids can walk right out of Gloucester High School and into a job in the biotech industry.
Right. This is sort of like the Gloucester Biotech, where graduates are being trained to be research assistants in biotechnology. Wouldn't that be outstanding if students can graduate from the high school and they're ready to go in the biotech field at large? That would really be something. I think I heard you mention it, but maybe just clarify which of the courses now include instruction in biotechnology?
Sure.
We've included some of it into all of our introductory biology classes. So from college prep to the honors class for the freshmen, these are the MCAS prep classes.
Right.
And the AP biology class is using the equipment, and of course the biotech class is fully engaged.
Yeah. How many sections of biotech do we have?
We have 2 again this year.
And what grade levels?
From principally juniors and seniors.
Okay, so they're pretty mature. Good. So a description of what's this biotechnology? People read about it in the newspaper. The layman probably, it's biology and it's technology, but I'm not sure they really know what it is or what some of these specific tools and instruments are.
Sure.
So what's biotechnology?
Well, bio, of course, is living, and technology is any type of machine. So by using things like DNA and proteins, I'm going to read just a little bit.
Sure.
It's sort of the application of DNA science and cell biology to produce products that really better our lives. And by that I mean these products could be used from textile industry to food products, agriculture, medicine. And in the biology class, we want to incorporate biotechnology skills so that the students would be able to use the equipment to be able to learn about DNA and protein synthesis. We start with basic lab safety and lab skills, mixing solutions, learning and reinforcing some of the chemistry that they might have had before, and then we supplement that with classroom instruction rather than going the other way around, classroom instruction and then trying to supplement it with labs.
Right. So you actually have students working with DNA?
Yes.
So I think I have two questions. I presume you're asking to extract DNA.
Yes.
And what role does DNA play in biotechnology?
Well, as one of the people that we've been working with just likes to say, DNA is the flash and protein is the cache.
Okay.
And so biotechnology is basically the use of DNA from one organism, and you can put it into a model organism to produce the proteins that are going to be useful for products. Or even in agriculture, there's a lot of transgenic plants that they've developed that are resistant to disease or insects or produce higher yields.
Right, right. So you can take a gene that's from one particular organism that's resistant to something, put it into a plant so that that plant will be resistant to it as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
The classic example is that of the production of insulin. It was the first biotech product that came about. Now it can be done by E. coli bacteria and be more available to people so that they can have something to treat their illness.
So not even a case, in addition to a case of perhaps providing resistance, there's also the issue that in biotechnology you can use microbes to manufacture things.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
So what are our kids manufacturing in the lab?
This is a semester class.
Well,
They're being introduced to
I'm
it.
We're
kidding you now.
being introduced to it, like as we said, with model organisms. There's
Yeah.
been many, exploratory laboratory things that have been developed for high school use, and some of them actually involve moving a plasmid, a small piece of DNA from a bacteria, and putting that into another bacteria. So what we actually can do is we can actually produce E. coli bacteria that will glow in the dark.
Okay, yeah.
Fish, the gene comes from jellyfish.
Really? And the kids get a chance to see that.
Yes.
Sure. And one of the things that I'm currently working with Dave on, and also a teacher in Switzerland, we had an exchange last year with a Swiss teacher coming over speaking to our biotech kids. And we developed an idea here of a bacteria called Wolbachia. It's an endosymbiont that exists inside, that means a living organism, a living bacteria that exists inside of most insects. This is currently being used in the treatment of Zika and some other type of diseases that are out there. Well, we inquired with our kids what would be a type of insect pest that would bother them on Cape Ann, and their overwhelming response was greenheads. So over the summer we collected greenheads, and then this winter our students here are going to work with extracting the DNA from those and find out if Wolbachia is present. And maybe they'll find a cure for some of the greenheads we have on Cape Ann.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Switzerland, they're working with horseflies since they don't have greenheads being inland.
And I'm not sure we want to swap with
Right. And so we hope to collaborate. I'll be going over to see them in March for that.
Wow, terrific. So we talked about this gel electrophoresis. I'm curious as to, if I can ask, how we have students to extract the DNA, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the tools that you have them use as well. So extracting the DNA is...
Well, extracting DNA isn't really that difficult when you have PCR, polymerase chain reaction, for a tool, because you only need a small amount of DNA and you can amplify it millions of times in a short time.
So you have if I may, a PCR
Yes.
machine,
we have
an
PCR
instrument.
machines. We have a
Wow.
large thermocycler, and we also have the minis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So biologically, a polymerase chain reaction is a Xerox machine for DNA, basically.
Yeah, with
Correct.
an exponential copy going on rather
Right.
than waiting for one at a time.
Right. So it can produce them many all at once, as opposed to one piece of paper, is what I hear you saying. Wow, that's pretty extraordinary. And is that complicated for kids to use?
Well, it's really quite simple with the steps that are laid out. The complicated part was in the development of finding the enzymes and the equipment to make it work.
Right.
But that's been established for a number of years now. But what we're doing is we're taking, scientific techniques that are used in industry, and we're bringing them right into the classroom in the high school.
Wow. So what other tools? I mean, you mentioned this the PCR piece. What else? What other tools are children being exposed to?
Sure. A classic and really important thing in the laboratory is being able to pipette properly. So we have we had pipettes before through the previous grant, but now we have research grade pipettes.
And what's a pipette?
So a pipette will measure a small particle or small volume of a liquid. So in this case here, instead of a milliliter here, would be a 1,000th of a milliliter.
Right.
So
So it's a microscopic straw. When you put your finger on a straw and the
Correct.
water comes up, but you can actually measure it, and you can do it in the thousandth of a millimeter, and it's extraordinarily small.
Milliliter, yep. So these are tools that they need to use to load gels to be able to work just within the laboratory and basic skills. So we work certainly with that. We do gel electrophoresis.
Yeah.
The simple idea of making a solution based upon concentration, mass to volume, or percentage, or molarity as well. These are skills that kids may not have had the opportunity to do, but certainly can help them throughout their whole life.
Sure, sure. And the gel electrophoresis, we've talked about it. I've
Yeah.
mentioned it 3 times or so, and sorry for that.
Yeah.
But could you talk a little bit, either of you, about how's that work? What are we
Sure.
moving, and what's going on there?
Well, the basic principle with gel electrophoresis is that the DNA has a charge to mass ratio that's constant. And by running an electric field through a DNA sample, it will move through the gel. And so you can make the gels at different densities depending on the sizes of DNA that you want to separate. But the smaller particles will move further because they meet less resistance in the gel.
Smaller. And why do we do that?
Specifically, it's done to determine whether or not you have the right gene, or if the gene that you're looking for of interest has made it into your transgenic organism.
Right, and to ensure that they're going to glow at night, the E. coli, right?
And also in some of our other sister courses like forensic science, of course, there's a real application with that. When you see a DNA match or possible match, then it typically is done with bands of certain sections of DNA that will line up based upon the length of the DNA or the charge of it.
So it's moving chemical, in this case DNA, it's moving it through some sort of a substance in order to separate things out, so then you can identify them, because there are certain ways in which you can identify what's there and or what's not there and stuff.
And we have historically done with all of our students, since Mass Bio became a part of our program earlier, with all of the college prep students as well, some type of work with horizontal gel electrophoresis. We're really excited to now work with vertical gel electrophoresis, which is used for proteins, separating proteins then.
That's
so
the
again,
cache, not the
yep.
flash.
It's the cache, not the flash. You got
And
it.
and the content, the link between the two is, of course, the DNA has the recipe to make the protein.
Right.
And so if you change the DNA here, you may change the way the protein is folded.
And hopefully for better.
For better.
For better.
That's what it's all about with
Right.
biotech.
Right, right. Oh, I don't know if we'll have time to talk about the social and ethical implications and some of the concerns that consumers have about
Sure.
Genetically modified foods and stuff. Maybe we'll get to that in a little bit. Who knows? Maybe you have an opinion. Maybe you don't. Some of the challenges in developing the biotechnology program.
When we first got started, we had limited resources. We don't have the largest budget in the world, and we figured we had enough to get going, and we got started with what we had. And the time constraints of the classroom is a concern. It's hard to do quality hands-on work in 45-minute periods. But there are certain stopping points where you can stop something and put it in the freezer and come back and get it tomorrow.
Right.
And the timing of the grant and the things that we had on that got us off to a little bit of a slow start last year. But if you learn from your mistakes, don't make them again.
I try.
you do well in life if you can learn from those mistakes.
Right. Of course. Of course. Are your roles similar in the classroom, or with the development of the overall program? Do you take on different roles in terms of keeping it really moving along?
Well, very much with this program, we need to work together. So we've had this vision. We've laid out what the vision would be to really make Gloucester High School a magnet school for STEM education, and particularly in the life sciences. So we realized the steps that were necessary with this. We have partnered together with several organizations to have a scientific advisory board that will help us, and many other sister companies that are there. So we work together in preparing the labs. We work together with the curriculum. We do all the professional training together, and we have a large vision as to where we want to see this go.
Right, right. That's a good segue to my next question, is if you can, explain how you achieve the award, a very prestigious award, and recognition from Mass Bioed.
You want to handle that?
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
Eric first got involved with Mass Bioed back in 2009, and as he mentioned, the the Innovation Award in 2013.
Right.
And we've been working with them quite closely over the years. All the biology teachers have gone to Mass Bio for training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And with this vision that we have for a biotech program within our high school, they have seen our vision, they're with us on that, they support us in that, and they really want to see it do well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this recognition is them saying, we see what you're doing, we see where you're going, and we're going to help you get there.
Yeah, wow.
It is the
Well put.
second time that they have had this particular award ceremony, but the first time that they've awarded it to teachers. So we feel really honored to be the
Really?
very first in the state.
So
to be
meaning that they were
recognized.
awarding it to research people and in the
to
field?
industry, yeah,
Ah.
to industry before.
That's quite a feather
Yeah.
in the cap. That's really outstanding. You mentioned earlier, Eric, or perhaps you
Yeah.
mentioned it in reference to Eric,
Yeah.
about managing the budgetary issues and stuff, and how's that work?
Well, for this particular grant, it was a huge application process, and to try to work our way through figuring out what type of equipment we would need, how we would physically receive $100,000 worth of equipment while we were teaching, unboxing, getting all the stuff together. There was that issue with it. There's also the issue to try to keep this as valuable education, to have the supplies. So part of the thing that we've been looking at is partnering with other companies. Recently, Cell Signaling just awarded the science department $5,000 towards a new water purification deionizing system that will be used in the laboratory. And we've partnered with Gorton's, we've partnered with, as I said, Cell Signaling. New England Biolab sits on our advisory board. And we hope that some of these organizations will help us with some of the with some of the consumables
Right.
is what I'm
Right.
looking for, consumables that we'll use.
Wow. So it's good that you're actively engaging industry and the community and to make this a long-term sustainable program.
And we want our students to be able to visit these places, and certainly we're fortunate in that the state is a big biotech hub. Also in Gloucester, the movement is with, as you mentioned, GMGI, the Gloucester Marine Genomics Institute, and their biotech academy that they have, plus all of the different biotech companies that are in Beverly and around us here. We really feel, in Ipswich, New England Biolabs, we feel really fortunate that we're riding this wave here.
Yeah, no question about it. I've had opportunities at some conferences recently to hear about the future, so to speak. And one gentleman in particular was talking about 4 industrial revolutions, beginning with the steam engine and working its way to the discovery of the internet and social media. But the final industrial revolution, the 4th right now, has to do with artificial intelligence and biotechnology, and putting those two together. And if that's where the future lies, the education that you're providing our students is right on the front as to where it needs to be, so they have options and choices as they go forward. During these presentations, we saw machines building brick walls, framing out houses, pouring with 3D printers, pouring concrete foundations. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Sometime in the near future, we'll be able to walk into a supermarket with our iPhone, click on the way in, fill up your basket, and walk out, and everything will be itemized. And that kind of technology, that kind of efficiency, carries over obviously into the field of biotechnology and even robotics and the like. So it's an extraordinary opportunity. I guess I answered the question as to what does the program mean to the science program and to our school's initiatives in STEM.
Well, one of our goals, I think Eric mentioned, is we would really like to become a magnet school for STEM education. And what we've done, as you know, last year, the technology and engineering program received state and national recognition for what they're doing.
Right.
And now we've received this, and we've been quietly going about things. We've started a computer science curriculum and program at the school.
Right.
And I'm sure it won't be long before they're getting some sort of recognition as well.
Yeah, yeah. And there have been in the past some state talk about initiatives making computer science one of the academic the fundamental academic courses. I don't know if they'll ever have the support and for us and the funding and such, but the extent to which that grows and becomes interdisciplinary with biotech, et cetera, is a chance for that our programs to blossom even further.
Sure.
It's been a great conversation. I want to end it up by reading, if I may, the citation that you received from the House of Representatives. It says, "Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Eric Lee," and David Enos has one as well, "in recognition of your work as a champion educator for biotechnology at Gloucester High School. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all its endeavors." And it was given on the 8th day of November 2017 at the State House in Boston, Massachusetts. Gentlemen, congratulations, and for all that you do on behalf of our kids in Gloucester, I thank you so very, very much. Congratulations again.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome.
And for this evening, that is Superintendent's Corner. Thank you for watching, and good night.